She fell to her knees, her hands trembling as she tried to pick up the broken pieces of glass scattered across the kitchen floor. Her mind was elsewhere, burdened with secrets she thought no one would ever uncover. Tears welled in her eyes, not because of the broken glass, but because of the weight she had been carrying for weeks. She thought she was alone, but what she didn't realize was that her husband was quietly standing at the doorway, watching everything. He had returned home earlier than expected, moving silently through the house. What he saw shook him. His wife, the woman he trusted with everything, crumbling before his eyes. She looked fragile, broken, and guilty, as if the very ground beneath her couldn't hold the secrets she was hiding. He wanted to step forward, to ask her what was wrong, but something held him back. He chose to watch, to observe, to piece together what she would never willingly confess. Her phone buzzed on the counter, and she froze. Slowly, she reached for it, her fingers shaking as the screen lit up with a message. His eyes narrowed as he saw the name, someone he recognized, someone he had never trusted. She quickly typed a reply, her lips whispering words of regret, words that he could barely make out. It was then he understood. The betrayal wasn't a suspicion anymore. It was real. The pain stabbed his chest like a blade. He had given her everything, loyalty, love, and years of his life. And now, as he stood in the shadows, he realized she had given her heart, and perhaps more, to someone else. His jaw tightened, but he made no sound. He wanted her to keep going, to show him the truth with her own actions, not with excuses later. She wiped her tears, unaware of his presence. She whispered to herself, "I can't keep lying, he'll find out." The words were soft, yet heavy enough to crush his soul. He had found out already. But instead of anger, what filled him was a cold determination. If she thought she could play with his heart, she was about to learn how dangerous betrayal could be. That night, he said nothing. He kissed her forehead, acted normal, and let her believe she was still safe in her illusions. She didn't know that her every move was now being watched, her every word weighed against the love she once promised him. He began planning quietly, carefully, with a patience she would never expect. Over the next few days, he gathered proof. Messages, calls, hotel receipts, all of it carefully stored away. Each piece of evidence was like fire in his veins, but he controlled himself. He smiled at her, spoke to her kindly, and allowed her to think he was blind. But inside, his heart was building a storm that no one could stop. Finally, he set his plan in motion. On the evening of their wedding anniversary, he invited both families for dinner. His wife was excited, believing it was his way of showing love. She dressed beautifully, unaware that tonight would shatter her carefully crafted lies. He watched her laugh, serve food, and act like the perfect wife in front of everyone. When the table was full, he stood up and cleared his throat. "Tonight, I want to share something special," he said. His wife smiled at him, thinking it was a romantic gesture. But her smile faded the moment he held up his phone and began reading the messages aloud, the words she had exchanged with another man. The room went silent, and her face turned pale. Her knees gave way again, but this time not because of broken glass. She sank to the floor in front of her family, begging, trembling, and crying. The shame, the guilt, the fear, it all consumed her. But he felt nothing. No pity, no love, no regret. Only satisfaction that the truth had finally been dragged into the light. Her parents couldn't look at her. His family shook their heads in disgust. The man who had once adored her now looked at her as if she were a stranger. She had destroyed everything with her own hands, and there was no way back. The walls of lies she built had collapsed in front of everyone. He calmly placed the divorce papers on the table. "You chose him over me," he said coldly. "Now live with that choice." She reached for him, sobbing, trying to explain, but he stepped back. For once, she was powerless. Her tricks, her charm, her tears, none of them could save her now. The guests left one by one, leaving her on the floor, broken and humiliated. He walked away without looking back, the weight of betrayal finally lifted from his chest. His revenge was not violence, not anger, but the truth itself, a truth that burned brighter than any lie she had told. She had fallen to her knees, not knowing her husband was watching. But now she knew. He had watched, he had learned, and he had destroyed her with nothing but her own sins. And as he closed the door behind him, she realized the bitter truth. Sometimes the quietest revenge is the most devastating of all.